Goes the family. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hope you guys have a great and exciting day. Alright, let's get it going. Let's get it going. Alright, so uh, first I want to say rest in peace to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Growing up as a kid, as a millennial 80s baby, I had the pleasure, the first, you know, quote unquote black activist that I knew of as a person, period, was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Then number two was Malcolm X. Then number three was Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks. And then Frederick Douglass and various others. And it's not really because of the education system, because the education system, for good or worse, usually only talked about two people: Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. But 99% of the times it was Martin Luther King. Um, and with it being Martin Luther King's birthday month, and I was born in January too, so we're both January babies. Um, One thing I can say with Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King is, you know, his messages were great. They were phenomenal. I have nothing but love and respect for the things that he went through during that time frame, during the civil rights movement era, and before he unfortunately was murdered. I have to give a lot of love and respect to the messages he had from the beginning to the middle to the end of his life, from not only, you know, integration, but then he came to the realization, well, hey, African Americans need access to capital. You know, people having high positions, people, um, having being able to go to the same um, lunch counter and parks and schools is a great thing. It's a start, but people need access to capital. People need access to housing. People need access to be able to make a decent living. People need access to be able to own businesses and whatnot. And obviously, during that time in the 1960s, it was just normal for a majority of African Americans to live in um, ghettos. Even though you had a small population, that you had a middle class of African Americans, school teachers, doctors, lawyers, business people. They had their little communities as well. But his message by the end of his life was access to capital, getting getting reparations for past due injustices and whatnot. And I have nothing but love and respect for Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King for everybody working together, coming together, doing a great thing. As the United States as a country, I think that was a beautiful thing. And then number two, obviously, African Americans getting access to capital and getting their economic tantrums and whatnot. And I think if he was alive to this day, he would love the progress that has happened from an educational standpoint, from an integration standpoint, even in certain instances from an economic standpoint. But I think today, if he would talk to certain politicians and business people, his message would be, because I believe he'd be in his 90s if he was still alive to this day. But I believe his message would be very straight to the point, and would basically be like, hey, um, how are African Americans still getting access to capital for their businesses? Are they able to not only get access to getting um, loans for properties and houses and things of that nature? I'm glad to see that they're getting degrees. But what are we owning? What are we building? Things from an economic standpoint. I think that would be the case and I chose my Halloween background today because it's a different playing field that we live in today. It's a different world we live in today, and like I actually believe in today's world it's more like a haunted house, more so because with the world being online and everything is online and things of that nature. I think you have more of an opportunity for things to come and get you, come after you without you even realizing it. Whether it's a hacker, people's accounts are getting hacked, whether it's social media, bank accounts, cryptocurrency accounts getting hacked, one's job being eliminated because of a job going overseas or one's job actually being eliminated because, hey, what's going on, Kendrick? One's job being eliminated because of automation and things of that nature. I think that's the main reason why today's world is a little bit more scarier, and that's why I chose the haunted house scene behind, as you see with me right now. But because you have a lot of demons coming at you from various different areas, various different ways, and people don't even realize it. But always remain vigilant in regards to everything that you encounter on every day, because there's more snakes out. And as you can see, if you ever see the movie It, there's more wicked clowns out there than you could ever imagine. And do your best to remain ever vigilant to ensure that you can combat these. Um, I like to call dangerous sources, dangerous people, adversaries, etc., and so forth in this life. But I just want to go on this live rant to give respect to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and his legacy. And I believe his legacy still lives on. And the main thing is, um, he talked about the certain economic tangibles that were given during a variety of time period throughout the United States of America. And before he was unfortunately murdered, he was talking about African Americans getting economic tangibles. And if you know me, that's what I'm all about, and that's what I like to hear in regards to economics, because I've said this before and I'll say it 1,000 times. A lot of people might agree, a lot of people might disagree, and that's the beautiful thing about the United States. You have a right to agree, to disagree, or you have a right to agree and not agree, etc., and so forth. But remember this, and I think that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King will probably agree with me on this one, because I know he did fight very hard for the Voter Rights Act. But let's keep it real. In 2022, who you do business with, who you bank with, and who you spend your money with holds way more power than who you vote for. Think on that. Do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great evening. And as I always say, make money moves, or you're gonna live broke like a fool. Take care, family.